Well, hi everybody. It's David Zink along with Kim Pearsall here to Mind Your Business for Friday. How you doing today, Kim?
Doing good. How are you doing, Dave?
It's good. It's been cool all week. I hope it's going to stay cool this weekend.
I know. I hope so too. And now we have a new spiffy video player. And if you, I think, look up there, you'll find doohickeys where you can embed the video in blogs and in emails. So that's kind of fantastic.
It is cool.
Yesterday?
And on, don't forget, and on Facebook.
Correct, yes.
You put it on Facebook, and if you look inside the business player, there will be tabs with different categories so you can look at other video, not just the basic video. Like we have a Mind Your Business tab, and there are other tabs, and that's still rolling out. It's been kind of rough because we have to work with a big corporate conglomerate to get it done, but we're getting it done. It should, by the end of the weekend, everything should be squared away. You should be able to look at all the video you want as soon as you can.
And then it'll spread like a virus.
Exactly. So what do we got today, Kim?
We've got a few stories on the agenda. First off, boat sales. So it's actually a transportation episode today. Boat sales, Corona-based Medina Holdings has debt, losses, and little revenue. Also in RV sales news, a dealership in Riverside that was off Interstate 91, they have closed after less than a year. So we'll have more info on that. And then finally, in today's paper, since we didn't have a Mind Your Business episode on Thursday, we're going to give you a little update on what actually appeared in today's issue. So something about Fleetwood Enterprises and also a little information about temp work.
Well, cool. And then boat sales, this Medina Holdings, they've seemed to be in trouble for a little while now, and it looks like it's starting to stack up on them.
Right. They're a boat maker, and obviously boats haven't been faring too well, along with other luxury items in this recession. And not a lot of people have the spare chunk of change to spend on big purchases like that. And apparently, according to their last financial statement, they have lots of debt, lots of losses, and not a lot of revenue. So the audit suggests that the small company might not survive, and the company's prime product is boats for fire departments, but looking at cities and counties and cash flow and budget issues, it doesn't look like a lot of them are spending money on new boats.
And so who did the audit, you said?
I think it was an independent auditor who looked at the company. I'm not entirely certain, though, but there was an audit conducted of the company.
I wonder if they're trying to sell. Maybe someone was auditing it to see where they're at.
Well, publicly traded companies have audits every so often. On a regular basis? Oh, yeah, definitely.
I didn't know they do independent ones that often, so.
Yeah.
Okay, and then next up we have RV sales. A dealership in Riverside closes, huh?
Correct. All American RV, which opened last October, it was opened up by Bruce Urban, who's kind of like the Mark Cuban of Canada in a way. He owns a sports team, a lacrosse team, and he owns quite a few RV dealerships across that country, and sells particularly Riverside-based Pacific Coachworks trailers. So this was going to be his first RV dealership in the States. He chose Riverside. It was a location off Interstate 91, and anyone who's driven by may have noticed the very large sports statues that were outside. It was also painted red, white, and blue, and so forth, and he really tried to grab people's attention with that, and so it's kind of a theme that he has up in Canada as well. It closed this month, and we had some stats that showed perhaps why. In terms of new trailers sold, he only sold 9 this year. So in the first, I think, 5 months of 2010, it went through May. And in 2009, in the last 3 months, he didn't sell any new trailers. And that's according to statistical surveys based in Michigan. So we'll have a little bit more information about that now.
It's really interesting. And that was the old Country Time RV Center over there off of Madison and Indiana is where I think he was at.
Correct. It is. Yeah.
It's very, actually a large facility. And just till recently, I thought I still saw those big sports figures on the freeway. So.
It was very recent. Yeah, I think they just recently moved out.
Okay, and then finally, we were talking about today's stuff, excuse me. We didn't get to it yesterday, so we get to it today. And Fleetwood, very sad to say, a longtime company, inland company, is finally, they're basically putting the final nails in the coffin, huh?
Right. It was kind of a bittersweet moment. I've covered it since they filed for bankruptcy last March 2009, and it was almost like a reunion of sorts going to the courthouse yesterday and seeing the lawyers who have been involved the entire time for about 16 months now. And for those 16 months since that bankruptcy filing, they've been trying to reorganize, and they've been going through and selling off assets and whatnot. In the very beginning, I recall the executives saying, okay, we have some options now. We can reorganize and become Fleetwood Enterprises again after getting rid of debt and so forth, or they could sell off assets. And in the very early stages, they weren't sure where they were going to go, but they ended up selling off their RV division, their housing division, their military housing division. All of those things aren't new. That happened quite some time ago, but it was solidified yesterday at the hearing that approved their bankruptcy plan, that basically it's liquidated. So whatever assets they have left, they're going to sell, and all of the funds raised from that are going to be going to their creditors. And so yesterday, it was approved by the court and approved by most of the creditors.
It's kind of interesting because when I was growing up, you would have thought that Fleetwood would be around forever. I mean, they were very entrenched in this area and pretty successful at what they did. I mean, for a lot of years, the Bounder was probably one of the most successful products that was out on the market, and that was obviously initiated by Fleetwood, correct?
Correct, yeah. The Bounder was their prime vehicle.
Right.
It was something that was designed, actually, John Crean, who's the founder of Fleetwood,
right,
ended up going to a Riverside Denny's and sitting down with the executives, brought out a napkin and just started sketching the logo for the Bounder that ended up sticking with the Bounder for those many years afterwards. And they came out with a new one. I think the new model, now owned by the new company based in Decatur, Indiana, it still has that logo and came out with a new Bounder version. So,
well, great. I didn't even know that. But
yeah, so Fleetwood RV, the name still exists. It was bought out by Decatur, Indiana company, a New York equity firm that based it there. So now there's no more Fleetwood operations here in the Inland Empire, and the Fleetwood name has changed to Fleetwood RV. So it's still around, the brand is there, but it's, yeah, definitely not the Riverside-based Fleetwood anymore.
And then finally, you talked about some jobs?
Correct, yeah. My colleague Jack Katzenik wrote about temporary hiring, and it looks like that's still on the upswing. So folks are hiring temporary workers. The key is they're not really keeping these folks much longer than their temporary status. So we haven't gotten to the point where folks are hiring full-time employees. So
companies are still treading water, as they say, because we can see that from also the Purchasing Managers Index, that they kind of fill stock, and then it goes, as much as it dropped this last cycle through, it might have been they all had stock, so they stopped buying, and they've also kind of not gone with more employees, they've just gone with temporary employees for the time being.
Well, and speaking of Purchasing Managers Index, the new report, I think that would be looking at June, is going to be coming out next week.
Oh, I can't wait. Of course, I have to get it in the business press. That's why I can't wait. But I'll be looking forward to that. Well, for Kim Pearsall, I'm David Zink, reminding you to mind your business. Have a great, safe weekend, and we'll see you here again on Monday.